Hello. This is Churchill's Shadow by Linda Stoker. So this is a book about my family during the Second World War, who were quite remarkable in that my uncle, great uncle, Uncle Walter, was Churchill's bodyguard during the war, even though he was too old and had retired. My aunt was in the French resistance and was giving information to Churchill, and my father was on the front line. So here it goes. I'm going to start reading the book to you now. And this is the prologue. 1700 hours, the 19th of March, 1941. Walter's service as Winston Churchill's personal bodyguard was officially over. As dusk fell, Walter rode his motorcycle for the last time along Downing Street. The bike stalled in front of the imposing black door of number 10. He looked up at the brick townhouse to the Prime Minister's study. He touched his chest when he saw the silhouette of the old man, there in person as a final salute. A shadow pulled Churchill back from the window. Walter smiled. The distinctive round shape of his chum, Sergeant George, was a comforting sight. Walter rammed his foot down hard on the old kickstart pedal, leaving his old life behind. He slowed down at the corner of Whitehall. It stung his eyes, misery, after 57 nights of ceaseless bombing. The Luftwaffe had turned the elegance of Westminster into a traumatised landscape. Grey sandbags protected every doorway, and buildings smouldered. He weaved the bike between gaping craters scarring the road. It was rush hour, and Lambeth Bridge was covered with the black shadows of resolute commuters carrying their gas masks and briefcases. He picked out the agitated walk of a man called Downward. Downward! Downward looked at the pavement and pulled his lapel across his face. Look at me! I'm not going to waste my energy popping you one, though God knows you deserve it. Just do your bloody job and look after the old man. Downward nodded. Well? Yes, Inspector. I'll make sure he goes to the bunker. You might have to force him at gunpoint. You know how willful he can be. And be sure of one thing. You let me down, I will kill you. Walter revved the bike. And make sure you treat my sergeant with some respect. Walter sped off down the road until he approached Brixton Road. A council worker was clearing a mound of bomb debris. You'll have to go round, mate. Poor bugger's got a direct hit on the shelter last night. 90 dead. Walter grappled with the bike. The council worker looked up. Oh, here, give me a hand, come on. Together they wrestled the heavy bike over the boulders, sliding it down the loose concrete at the back of the mound. 1800 hours. As Walter neared his home, an air raid siren wailed. With practised speed, he clicked open his pocket watch alarm. Ding! He set it for 10 minutes. The 10 precious minutes he needed to get home to Kate before bombs and fire would rain down from the sky. This was his neighbourhood, but night and day no longer followed their regular course. He shuddered. A sudden loneliness weighed on his chest. Without the faithful Sergeant George by his side, 1802 hours. Beams of light were weaving crosses in the sky, searching for the first deadly aircraft. Giant gas-filled barrage balloons, tethered by steel cables, covered the skyline. The sirens shrieked louder. Walter tightened his grip on the handlebars. Smoke coughed from the exhaust as he opened the accelerator to full throttle. The city shook when the bitter ack-ack firing from the British artillery emplacements discharged shells at the advancing German bombers. 1803. In the distance, a red double-decker bus blocked the road. He slowed the bike and stopped when he saw steam spewing from the engine. "May I be of assistance?" "Don't suppose you've seen the relief bus on your way, have you, Gov?" "Yes, I passed it on my way back at Gibson's Hill." "Sir, the nearest shelter is a mile away in the park on the left. We've 7 minutes left. Hurry. Get all your passengers off the bus now." "Who are you then giving your bloody orders?" Walters flashed his warrant card. "Inspector Thompson, Scotland Yard, sir. Please, we have no time. Please." "Oh, right you are then, Inspector. All change here. Come on, love, off you get. Come on now, hurry up, darling. No, leave your pushchair on the bus. Hitler's not going to nick it. Come on, give the little one to me." "Private, a word." Walter called to a jumpy boy in uniform standing in line on the pavement. "Get on. You can alert me at the shelter that they've got a full busload coming." 1804. The boy climbed on the bike and clung to Walter. They flew past people laden with food and blankets, dashing along the pavement to spend another torturous night down in the damp, cold air raid shelter. In an instant, the ear-piercing wail of the sirens stopped. The muffled booms and advanced to a louder crump, crump, crump of bombs tearing homes apart in the distance. An elderly man at the end of the line took the hand of a tiny boy that had been left alone on the pavement and guided him back to his mother. The throbbing engines of the first wave of German bombers came grinding overhead, silencing the people of the city. All eyes peered at the moonlit sky, now blackened by the silhouettes of hundreds of planes in close formation. Walter slid the bike to a halt in front of the park gates. The conscript dismounted and ran towards the shelter, arms and legs flailing. The might of the German Air Force have invaded the British guns. There was a low, intermittent drone as they smothered London, spreading wave after wave of fire and destruction. 1806. Walter whistled his cuckoo, cuckoo signal. Kate rushed to the parlour door. "Walter!" She flung her arms around him. "You've come home!" She pushed him away a little and marvelled at the sight of his handsome face. Walter made a grab for her. "No time for this. Come on, we have to go." 1807. She ducked under his muscular arms and picked up a flask of tea. "Quick, let's go to the shelter. I've got something important to tell you." He took her hand. 1808. A flash. Kate's hand was torn from his grip. The air was ripped from their lungs and Kate's body was flung into an abyss. "Kate! Kate!" Walter saw her hand slip from his in slow motion, over and over, until the blackness took him too. 1808 hours. The relief bus left the ground with the blast. The passengers screamed. They were thrown from their seats and slammed down again, smashing heads and limbs on glass and wood. The bus slew to a halt in front of the park gates. The relief driver's head crashed through the windscreen, killing her instantly. 1809. The conductor stepped down from the bus. She saw her shattered friend in the driver's cab. She undid the buckle on her ticket machine, letting it fall to the road. She balanced against the bus, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "That way, over there, over there." She held out her arm to help each passenger off the bus. "That's right, over there, see the main gate, follow on, follow on." Her words hit deafened ears as the bedraggled line of people hobbled off the bus in the direction of the park. 1810 hours. Walter's pocket watch alarm went off with small broken tink, tink, tinks as he lay motionless under the rubble. Tea dribbled out of the broken flask as it rolled across the floor. St. Paul's Cathedral stood alone while London was ringed and stabbed with fire. Next time I'll read you chapter 1.